Last night, the United States and its allies, France and the UK, led a military strike against Syria, striking Syrian military targets said to be linked to a Syrian chemical weapons program.
A short time ago, I ordered the United States Armed Forces to launch precision strikes on targets associated with the chemical weapons capabilities of Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad.
According to U.S. officials, the attack was meant to send a strong message to the Assad government against the use of chemical weapons, citing an alleged chemical attack blamed on the Assad government in the town of Douma last weekend. The Pentagon has stated that over 100 missiles were launched and that the strike has set back Syria's chemical weapons program for years. Russia has stated that Syria successfully shot down 71 of the incoming missiles, a statement the Pentagon denies. At this point, we have not seen any reports of civilian casualties. The airstrike came just hours before the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, who works with the United Nations, was set to arrive in Damascus on a fact-finding mission and to conduct an investigation into the allegations of chemical weapons use in Douma. The OPCW has since arrived in Damascus. The Syrian ambassador to the UN has stated that the airstrikes by Washington, London, and Paris were aimed at undermining the work of OPCW that was scheduled to inspect the site of the alleged chemical attack in Douma. Russia says it has irrefutable evidence that the chemical attack was staged by Western intelligence to justify military action. Russia has also stated that their own experts were on the ground in Douma before the U.S.-led airstrikes and claimed they found no evidence of chemical weapons. The United States has stated they have obtained evidence of the use of chemical weapons in blood and urine samples from victims of the alleged chemical attack. Now remember, about 3 weeks before the alleged chemical attack in Douma, the Russian Ministry of Defense stated that the U.S. was training militants in Syria for a false flag chemical attack as a pretext for the U.S. to bomb Syria, a claim denied by the Pentagon. And do not forget that the UN has previously accused the Syrian rebels who are backed by the US and the West of conducting chemical attacks in 2013 to then blame the Assad government of gassing its own people, to then justify Western military action in Syria. Now, we must always take into consideration the sources of information, as the West and Russia are both pushing their own versions of the truth, as the information warfare campaigns are in full swing. At this point, many questions remain. Will the OPCW investigation into the alleged chemical attack be impacted by the U.S.-led airstrikes? And why would Assad carry out a chemical attack when that is the one excuse that the West has stated over and over that they would retaliate against, knowing full well that the U.S. would respond militarily? Now, this is just one of the stories we are keeping an eye on here at Newsbud. This week, our Russia expert breaks down Putin's recent trip to Turkey. Our China expert covers the looming economic warfare between the U.S. and China. Our constitutional attorney exposes the shadow government and the police state. But first, Newsbud is only made possible by our viewers. We are 100% people funded through subscriptions and donations, and a Newsbud membership gets you instant access to hundreds of exclusive videos, articles, and much more. Let's take a quick look at what Newsbud members got just in the last week of their monthly or annual subscriptions. This week on Newsbud's Geopolitical Report, Kurt Nimmo covers President Trump's new National Security Advisor, John Bolton, as Nimmo examines Bolton's track record and the role he played in fomenting the invasion of Iraq. He also looks at what will be the top priorities of Bolton as he assumes the position of National Security Advisor in the Trump administration, and how Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran are all in Bolton's crosshairs. This video report is exclusively available for members at newsbud.com. Non-members can watch it now at Newsbud Vimeo On Demand. This week, one of Newsbud's military veteran analysts wrote an exclusive report breaking down how the Department of Defense has spent almost $4 billion in just a couple of months on drone contracts. This report itemizes each contract, where your tax dollars are going, and for what. The full report's exclusively available for members at newsbud.com. Each week on Newsbud's Russian Newspaper Monitor, Professor Kovacevic deconstructs the headlines in the Russian newspapers while providing expert analysis. In this week's episode, Professor Kovacevic covers Vladimir Putin's recent trip to Turkey as he met with his Turkish counterpart for a meeting that is bringing the two countries closer together, much to the displeasure of NATO and the West, who are actively trying to drive a wedge between the two nations. The professor also details the implications of Russia's Caspian Sea naval fleet and their new assignment. Plus, Kovacevic examines an exclusive interview of a top Russian chemical expert who raises some very important questions surrounding the Skripal incident that pokes some big holes in the official story pushed by the UK, and much more. This is must-see news and analysis, and you will not find it anywhere but newsbud.com, so be sure to become a member today. If you want to preview our work, you can find us on Newsbud Vimeo On Demand. Now, this week, Kurt Nimmo wrote an exclusive article for Newsbud exposing a new Homeland Security database targeting quote-unquote fake news journalists. And this is just another example of how they are trying to control the narrative, as any information that does not toe the establishment line is considered dangerous and must be dealt with. This is a must-read article and it's available right now for members at newsbud.com. China has been in the news a lot lately, and Newsbud has a weekly show called China Watch, which covers all the latest developments in Asia and beyond. This week on China Watch, Peter Lee breaks down the latest moves by China and the U.S. as we are witnessing the early stages of a trade war between the two superpowers. Our China expert not only covers what can be expected from this economic warfare, but who will be the winners and losers, as the potential for this trade war to escalate into a direct conflict cannot be ruled out. The full report's available right now for members at newsbud.com. Non-members can watch and share at Newsbud Vimeo On Demand. This week, Newsbud's constitutional attorney, John W. Whitehead, lays out the harsh reality that America is quickly traveling down a road that has us on a collision course with tyranny, as the shadow government continues to call the shots from the halls of power, which is facilitated by the mainstream media and enforced by a surveillance/police state that is clamping down on anyone who steps out of line. Do not miss this powerful presentation by one of America's top constitutional attorneys, John W. Whitehead. Members can see the full video now exclusively at newsbud.com. Non-members can watch and share at Newsbud Vimeo On Demand. Newsbud's military analyst Christian Sorensen wrote in another exclusive article this week detailing how Congress and the military-industrial complex is raking in the profits and campaign contributions, as it's no secret war is big business. As Sorensen points out in this report, it's up to an informed public to remedy the situation. Understanding the following trends, which were distilled from recent Pentagon contracts, is a crucial part of forming an educated, mobilized citizenry. The full report is available for everyone right now at newsbud.com. Newsbud also offers our own aggregated news, and we call it Sibel's Picks. It's the best source for aggregated news online. Newsbud's founder and editor, Sibel Edmonds, handpicks each story herself, and you get about 90 links a week of the most important and blacked out stories. If you're not already a Newsbud member, why not join today and give us a shot? There is no contract or obligation, and it costs practically nothing. Plus, your subscription allows this independent news organization to continue to operate. Your subscription will also provide you with unlimited access to all of the exclusive content we produce here each and every week, including the videos, the articles, the interviews, the roundtables, and much more. You will not be disappointed. For all of us here at Newsbud, thank you for supporting independent media, and stay tuned for next week's lineup.